petty family feud started with my brother-in-law's wife picking a fight with me. Until then, there were no issues, just a peaceful life with my in-laws. I'm Hannah, a 35-year-old housewife, married for 3 years. My husband, Roy, is a year older than me and currently runs his father's company. It's a well-loved, reputable local business founded by his father. I stay out of the company's business. I'm studying law for the future. My relationship with my in-laws is good. I moved in with my in-laws right after getting married, but my father-in-law hardly goes to the office now, enjoying socializing with friends, and my mother-in-law works all day in accounting at his company, so they really appreciate my handling of all the housework. Additionally, Roy has an older sister, who is 3 years his senior and works at their father's company with her husband, and a younger brother, 2 years his junior, who works at a friend's company and has moved out. Since I had little interaction with them, there were no issues. The peace was disrupted when Roy's brother, Tyler, married 27-year-old Melissa. She was already pregnant at the time of the marriage and gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, 2 months later. In contrast, Roy and I don't have children. Only my in-laws, Roy's sister, my husband Roy, and I know this, but the issue lies with Roy. However, Melissa, who doesn't know this, started saying that their family is more suitable to inherit the company. Initially, Melissa asked me, "You're already past 30 and still don't have kids. Why is that?" Honestly, I've been fed up with people asking, "No kids yet?" or saying, "It's your duty as the eldest son's wife to bear an heir." Of course, I married Roy knowing we couldn't have children, so I just laughed off such comments. So, as usual, I vaguely answered Melissa, "Well, that's something only God can decide." Then she bluntly said, "Doesn't that mean you're defective as a woman and a wife? Unlike you, I've given birth to both a boy and a girl, so don't you think our family should be the successor?" She even pressed, "My husband, Tyler, also thinks it's unfair for Roy to take over the company. Can't you talk to Roy about handing over his position to my husband?" I replied, "That's not something I should interfere in. If you're so keen on succeeding the company, you should discuss it directly with our father-in-law. Though Roy is currently in charge, the company's CEO is still his father. I thought talking to the father-in-law might change things, but..." Melissa retorted, "That's why I'm asking you." Apparently, Tyler was quite rebellious when younger, leading to a pretty bad reputation locally. According to Melissa, his parents know this, so it's unlikely they'd choose him as a successor. She insisted, "That's why I'm asking you. Even if Roy takes over, there's no next generation to follow, right? It'd be better if Tyler became the president from the start. So, don't tell me about it. If Tyler was wild in his youth, then he should work on redeeming himself." As I grew increasingly angry and voiced my opinion strongly to Melissa, she looked annoyed and snapped, "Fine. Just watch me." It seemed like she was plotting something. Over the weekend, Melissa and Tyler suddenly showed up with their twins. Since they hadn't visited much after the birth, everyone exclaimed, "How adorable. Do they look like me?" "Look at their eyes," said the grandparents, though honestly, they didn't resemble the grandfather. The in-laws were overjoyed. Tyler, grinning foolishly, was buttering up, saying, "Right? They'll probably grow up to be great kids, just like Grandpa. Your genes are amazing." Melissa also spoke to the twins, "Look, here's Grandpa and Grandma. They're going to love you a lot." "Ah, I see, that's their strategy. It's indeed quicker to use the grandchildren card than to redeem the tarnished reputation of Tyler. But, I think, or rather I'm sure, their efforts are in vain." While I thought this, Melissa looked at me and smirked. "I want to raise these children to be as respectable as you. Can I bring them here often to show them your admirable ways?" I thought it's ridiculous to show this to infants, but the father-in-law was surprisingly happy and agreed readily. Then, getting carried away, Tyler asked in a wheedling tone, "Dad, we're really struggling financially now with 2 kids all of a sudden. My current job pays poorly. Could you help us out a bit for your adorable grandchildren?" The grandfather, smitten with the twins, agreed to give a monthly allowance of $1,000. My mother-in-law and Roy watched her with complex expressions. Later, my mother-in-law told me that she and my sister-in-law had to apologize a lot for Tyler's past misdeeds. The diligent and hardworking sister-in-law, who is the opposite of Melissa and Tyler, strongly opposed their marriage, and the mother-in-law regretted not listening to her. It's unthinkable that couple could raise their kids properly. And I was terrified they'd dump the twins on us, she said. Indeed, I agreed. Hannah, this is no time to be relaxed. If they bring the twins over on weekdays, you'll be the one looking after them. That's right. I've never raised children, so there's no way I could properly care for babies just a few months old. But surely, Melissa wouldn't leave her twins with someone like me, I thought. Since you probably can't have kids anymore, I'll let you have a pretend experience, Melissa told me. A few days later, in the afternoon, Melissa brought the roughly half-year-old babies to our house and tried to leave by herself. Hey. That's incredibly irresponsible. What if something happens to these kids? I shouted in anger. Melissa replied cheerfully, if anything happens, I'll blame it all on you. Poor mother to have such a daughter-in-law. Hearing that, I completely lost my temper. Using your own children for your and your husband's schemes. Enough is enough. What? Scheming? Watch how you talk. Isn't it sad for your mother-in-law and father-in-law? Having an infertile woman like you as the eldest son's wife, leading to the end of the company in the next generation. Why do you assume it'll end? What are you talking about? Since the eldest son, Roy, doesn't have kids, there won't be a next generation once he becomes the president. Someone else will become the president. I won't let that happen. After yelling that, Melissa actually left the two babies behind and walked out. What should I do? My mother-in-law is super busy with the company's year-end accounting. Should I contact my husband? But Roy has zero experience with child rearing too, and he has apologized many times for the fact that I can't get pregnant because of him. Should I really discuss the baby situation with him? While I was pondering, the two babies started crying almost simultaneously. The father-in-law tried to soothe them but couldn't. Right, my sister-in-law has experience with child rearing. Remembering this, I quickly contacted her, and she came right over. At 10 p.m., a drunken Melissa was greeted by me, my husband, the in-laws, and her husband. My sister-in-law was in another room, making sure the twins didn't wake up. What's going on? Why is everyone here? Melissa was visibly shaken. The mother-in-law asked why she left the children for 7 hours. Oh, that? Hannah insisted on taking care of them and kicked me out. How awful, right? Roy responded to Melissa's smooth lie. I heard all your conversation with Hannah this afternoon. You really talked down my wife. Actually, Roy had been troubled by Melissa's recent behavior and had installed listening devices after her last visit. Melissa was momentarily flustered but then said, isn't it the truth? The eldest son's wife can't even have children. Quiet. That's when the mother-in-law raised her voice. The fact that these two don't have children is something my husband and I have already accepted. It's none of your business. Before marrying, Roy and I had a bridal check at the hospital to see if we could conceive. That's when it was discovered that Roy had a congenital issue preventing us from having children. The mother-in-law cried, apologizing for giving birth to Roy that way. That's why she protected me from Melissa's abusive words. And she kept the fact that Roy was the cause a secret. Her kindness truly touched me. After being scolded by the mother-in-law, Melissa, unable to grasp the situation, turned to plead with the father-in-law. But, we have children. To ensure the company's continuation, the next generation's successor is necessary, right? Right? Then the father-in-law calmly replied. We haven't thought that far. Whoever becomes the next president can decide. Choosing a successor just because they have children is absurd. Hearing this, Melissa and Tyler's expressions changed. So, does that mean Roy is the next president? Tyler almost shrieked. The father-in-law responded. No, I'll let your sister take over. We decided this before you two got married. The brother-in-law couple's faces looked as if they had been hit by a bullet. But, the sister is a woman, Tyler managed to say. The father-in-law cut him off. She has always been excellent academically and popular. Plus, you might not know this, but she had to apologize for your misdeeds. Since then, she's been known locally as polite and dependable. Next to the stunned brother-in-law, Melissa turned her anger towards me. You knew about this, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me? What? I did say, someone else will become the president. I'm not part of their company, so I can't say more than that. Then Roy chimed in. The $1,000 we were giving you was from my pocket. We couldn't use the company's money, and I wanted my dad to enjoy his salary and pension. Plus, I do love my nephew and niece. But after discussing with Dad and my sister, we've decided to stop it from now on. Hearing this, both Melissa and Tyler went pale. What? That's a problem. We're spending so much on childcare. Such excuses didn't work with my husband. What are you talking about? We felt sorry for you saying life was tough, so my sister and I discussed hiring Tyler in our company. When we had a private investigator check as part of a background check, we found out you two often left your kids with your parents to go clubbing. At this revelation, the couple collapsed on the spot. Still, they desperately clung to their in-laws, but the father-in-law firmly stated, "We're leaving the company to your sister and her husband, and the house affairs to Roy and his wife. Please don't rely on us anymore," and they were left crying. Starting a family feud for nothing. Later, I heard that the brother-in-law couple were discussing divorce. Neither wants to pay alimony nor child support, and the brother-in-law is ranting, "They're not my kids. They don't look like me," while Melissa left the kids with her parents and is refusing to let them see their father. Apparently, she doesn't want a DNA test. Whether or not the twins have the brother-in-law's blood, they will certainly not inherit the company, but it's a bit sad for the innocent twins. Roy, my husband, is set to become the president of the subsidiary where my sister-in-law and her husband have been working since before our marriage. I won't be helping with my in-laws' company, and I've been studying labor law. It's to assist in this new role. I'm also scheduled to be appointed as the executive vice president, and I'm determined to make it a better place for our employees to enjoy working.